Hi, I'm Becky Danielson with 1 Corinthians 13 Parenting, and my guests this evening are Peter Larson and Heather Larson, who is also a member of the 1 Corinthians 13 Parenting blog team. We're thrilled that you're joining us tonight. We're talking about romance with Valentine's Day coming up. How do parents with kids in the house, little ones, middle school, high school, fit romance into this equation?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great question this time of year with Valentine's coming up, like you said. And I think that I learned something several years ago about romance that I've never forgotten. And it has to do with what is the ingredients of romance. And you know, our culture will tell us that it's about all the external trappings.
It's things you can package or you can buy in a store. It might be outfits that you might wear, or perfume you would wear.
Or chocolates and flowers and violin music and candlelit dinners. But the common denominator with all those things is it's the external stuff. It's trying to set the stage for something to create an internal feeling. Okay. And, you know, it often falls flat. If you're not pursuing a relationship where you're fascinated with your significant other, where you're intrigued with who they are on the inside, where you're captivated by sitting with them and having a conversation, it's hard for these external things to really create romance. I was reminded, Heather and I were talking about earlier years, and even before we were married, I went on a date with a girl one time. And
long before we were
married.
Yes,
long before we were married. And I thought I was going to try and be Mr. Romance. And so I had pre-planned a picnic area. We were going to walk around the lake, and I had a couple of friends helping me. And so we had set up a picnic with all this great food and even a little grill there with a good meal. And, you know, it was going to be very romantic. Now the problem was about halfway around the lake, I realized I was really bored with our conversation, and we didn't have a lot of values in common, and not a lot of interests. So that by the time we got to this very romantic setting, there was nothing romantic feeling about it at all. I was not fascinated with who this person is.
I think it was a little more awkward than anything at that point.
It was very,
Sounds like
it was forced. It was very forced. Now, contrast that with when I was dating Heather, and you know, we could have been sitting in a car in the rain having a conversation, and that might have been the most romantic moment of my week or of the month, because I was fascinated with who she is.
It's not the stuff, it's the person.
It really is.
Yeah.
All right. Well then, as a couple, how do you fuel that fascination?
Well, there's a couple things you can be thinking about, and one is really to take some ownership in who you are and being a person of interest and being somebody who's doing something interesting in your life. The second thing is to really go back in your mind and remember you don't know everything about your spouse. You don't know everything about that significant other, and just to be fascinated and interested and ask questions and explore with them about really who they are and what their goals are for the future, and get beyond just how was your day.
Yeah. I can't tell you how much Heather has changed in the 18 years we've been married. And I think sometimes we fall into this assumption that we know this person inside and out, and we kind of let this boredom settle in on our relationship. And you know, every time we have a conversation, and I'm intentional about asking her about, you know, what are you excited about these days? What are you dreaming about? How are you growing as a person? She surprises me with something, and I find that fascinating. And those kinds of connections are romantic.
Awesome advice. Absolutely awesome advice. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate it. Wonderful tips. There is a connection, a link for you to find Heather and Peter with 10 great dates on the 1 Corinthians 13 Parenting website. So please join us. Thank you for being here today, and I wish you all the best for a very happy Valentine's Day. God bless you and your family.